to Rose Tinted. So first of all, I'd like to point out, yes, my top is see-through, yes, it looks a little bit iffy. That's because I'm wearing an ill-fitting bra and I'm past the point of caring. Basically, today's video is going to be my advice for first-time mums. So as you guys are probably sick to death of hearing, okay, I'm currently waiting for the arrival of my second baby, and I was reflecting on the things that I would do differently this time around from last time, and obviously me and Spuggy have been having conversations back and forth about what we wish we knew and all of that jazz. And I realised that most of the things that I would give, like most of the advice I would give to myself back in time as a first time mum, is advice that I was given from like friends and family, but for some reason I feel like I would have listened to this advice more from somebody that was more my age, or from somebody that I watched online. I'm not quite sure why that is, but there's also a lot of things that people didn't tell me and I wish they had. So basically this video is me sharing my tips with you guys. If you're not interested, if you don't care, if you don't follow these tips, all of those things are okay, because those are also things that you do and learn as first time parents. We were given loads of advice that we didn't follow and we wish we had, and yeah, basically. So let's jump into it. First one is something that I wish somebody had told me, but it was one of the things that a lot of people forgot to mention. So that is to lower your expectations for how much you can achieve in a day. So while I was off on maternity leave, I would be able to get the entire house scrubbed from top to bottom, dishes done, laundry done, bed changed, hair done, makeup done, out for the day, meet friends for coffee, go to the gym, go for walks, get a good night's sleep, have a bath, all of these different things. And then when Nicholas arrived and I was still able to do the majority of those things for the first couple of weeks of his life, when he practically just slept and ate, I got a really big shock when the kind of 1 month, 2 month mark hit and he started spending some time being awake, and things like colic started being a problem, or things like stomach cramps started being a problem, or constipation, and he ended up having these problems that would take up a lot of my time, or there were appointments that I needed to go to, or people that wanted to see him, and on top of that I was exhausted. I just had a baby and I was tired. And I think a lot of people forget to mention that everything that you've managed to do in your life up until this point in a day is just not realistic anymore, and you will get to the point where you work out a routine that works for you, but it takes some figuring out, and it's not easy, and you're not going to get everything done that you want to get done. So that would be my first advice, is stick to your to-do lists, make sure you have a plan in your mind, because it's always helpful and like motivating to have a list of things you want to do. But just remember that these are things you want to do, not have to do. If the dishes don't get done, it's fine. If your partner has to come home and do his own washing, that too is fine. If the bed isn't made, you know, if these little things aren't done, it is not a big problem. Sometimes it is all you can do to make sure that your baby is happy, healthy, warm and comfortable, and if you're doing that, you're doing a great job. Tip number 2 would be prepare yourself for postpartum emotions. So I was not prepared for this. I knew that I would be, or people had warned me I would be emotional after having a baby, but nobody told me that it was like an outer body experience. So for example, crying, perfectly normal. I phoned my sister several times, once to cry about the fact that method cleaner had the scent of clementines, and I was confused as to why it said non-toxic, when in my mind clementines were toxic. There was also the night that I was crying for something at my living room window, and my neighbour came across with a cup of tea, and I opened the door, I grabbed the tea, and I shut the door. I didn't invite her in, I didn't say thank you, I took the cup of tea and shut the door as if she was like my chef popping through from the kitchen. It was incredibly rude, and I did have to go and apologise for it. I also ran outside in my pyjamas because I thought my mum and stepdad were angry at me because I was asleep when they arrived for a visit, when in actual fact they were just leaving so that I could get some sleep. So prepare yourself for the fact that you no longer understand what is going to happen with your emotions. So I usually know when I'm sad, I usually know when I'm angry, I usually know when I'm anxious. After I had Nicholas, I had no idea. So be prepared, and also make sure your partner is prepared as well, because I think Spuggy got a shock with some of the things that would upset me, some of the things that would anger me, and it really wasn't anything major. It was just the fact that the hormones in my body were all over the joint. So prepare yourself for that, because boy, it's a ride and a half. Number 3 is a tip that was actually given to me by my mum, and she said you will know your baby better than anyone, and she was 100% true. And I think that this is something that every first time mum should know. So you're constantly told when to feed them, when to change them, how to go about tummy time, how to bath them, how to bed them, when to bed them, all of these different things. You're given advice from so many people. At the end of the day, you will know when your baby is ready for bed, you will know when your baby is hungry, you will know how you want to bath your baby, how you want to go around taking them on outings. You will know. Number 4 is it's alright to have bad days. So I got to the point where I would be able to get the housework done and keep Nicholas happy and maybe get out with him for a little bit, and I kind of got myself into a routine, which was great. But there were also days when I just wanted to lie in bed with him and snuggle with him, and then maybe go down to the sofa and just watch some TV and cuddle with him and play with his little toys and not take him out and not do the housework and not put makeup on and not do all of the things that in my mind were expected of me. And that is perfectly okay. It is okay to have bad days, because you're going to be tired for a lot of the days, and it's stressful. You're raising a human being. It's a stressful situation. So it's alright to have bad days. Allow yourself to have those days where you don't have any pressure to get anything done. You will thank yourself in the long run. Number 5 is be honest with your healthcare providers. So your midwife, your health visitor, your community midwife, your GP, the nurses that you go and see. All of these people are here to help you. And I made this mistake quite majorly when I had Nicholas, was that I interpreted their help as help for him, when in actual fact they are all there to help you and baby. And it's really important that you're honest with them about how you're feeling, how you're coping, what maybe you're not coping with. All of these things, they're really important that you're honest with them, because I think people are always really scared to say if they're not coping with something, or to tell their healthcare providers about their bad days and this kind of thing. I think because our automatic fear is they're going to take the baby away, or they're going to think I'm not coping, or I can't do this, or they're judging me, or these kind of things, and none of that is true. They're there to support you. There are 100 reasons why your baby is better off with you, even on a bad day, than anywhere else. So just bear that in mind, that they are there to support you, and it can help you. It can majorly help you from going down a rabbit hole. So if your healthcare providers ask you questions about how you are, answer them honestly. You'll thank yourself for it, and your baby will thank you for it too, because you can only be the best mum you can be if you're the best version of you, and the best way to do that is to get any assistance or help or advice. Sometimes just to vent is all you need, and sometimes that's easier done to somebody you don't really know. So bear that in mind. Please do it. Please do it. My next tip would be have a rough routine as opposed to a strict schedule. So depending on the type of person you are, I suppose, but I would say in general it's easier to have, or better to have, a rough routine than a strict schedule. So know that you want to do tea time, bath time, bedtime. Know that you want to do these kind of things, but don't put really strict times on everything, because eventually you'll miss a day, or a day will be too much, and having those strict times to stick to will only make it 100 times more stressful. Absolutely, when they're a little bit older and you're kind of more in the swing of things, and that they've worked out their routine a bit more, absolutely go for whatever kind of schedule you like, but especially for the first, I would say, couple of months, rough routine over strict schedule every time. Even now, I mean, Nicholas is now 18 months old and we're still in a rough routine as opposed to a strict schedule. I would say it's slightly more strict than it was when he was like a baby, but me and Spuggy aren't strict schedule people, and neither is Nicholas, so trying to force all three of us into that is only going to make home life extremely stressful. So just bear that in mind. If it feels unnatural, then it probably is, so cut it out. This is one I wish I'd paid more attention to. Your baby will hit their milestones when they are ready and when nobody else is ready. So I constantly worried that Nicholas wasn't sitting up on the milestone checkpoint. I was concerned he wasn't walking at the right time, crawling at the right time, eating at the right time, all of these kind of different things. And now he walks, he crawls, he eats, he sleeps, he can sit up, he can play with his different learning toys correctly. He chats, he doesn't speak necessarily like interpretable English yet. It still sounds a bit like German or Japanese or, you know, crap. But he chats away, and to him it means something, which means to me his brain is ticking over and he's thinking something. And from time to time he'll let out obviously the obvious words like mummy, daddy, that kind of thing. He can say fine. Are we having full-blown political conversations yet? Absolutely not. Was I concerned about it? Yes. Am I concerned about it now? After seeing how long it took him to learn to walk and now realising that he does it all the time, no, I'm not worried about it anymore, and I'm just going to leave him to do his own thing and work out life by himself, because he seems happier that way than me trying to force him to walk around the house or talk or sit up, or he seems much happier to do it by himself. So don't stress. But for the most part, babies will do things in their own time, and forcing them will only stress you out and stress the baby out. So just leave them to it. They'll be absolutely fine and they'll be driving you nuts in no time. So my next piece of advice for first time mums is make time for you. This is really, really important, and I figured this out quite late after having Nicholas. I would say it was maybe about 6 months in before me and Spuggy kind of realised as a collective that it was extremely important for me to still have time as me. So me as in me, not the mum, me as in me, not the girlfriend that's at home, me as in me that isn't the cleaner and the cook and all of these different things. It's still important for me to be me and for you to be you. So have a chat with your partner, try and work something out on how you can do this. I found this by going to the gym, so a couple of times a week I would go to the gym, which was time just for me, which was something I enjoyed. I'd walk up to the gym listening to my music, I'd be at the gym, which made me feel great, I'd get myself a Starbucks, which defeated the entire purpose of the visit to the gym, and then I'd walk back listening to my music, and it put me in a much better mental space. I was much more positive, I was much more productive, I was much happier, and it opened major lines of communication for me and Spuggy as well, in order to parent as a team, because obviously dads, their life obviously still changes, but they still get to go to the pub, they still get to go to work, they still get to do all these different things, and as a mum you kind of just keep rolling from one thing to the next, and I think it's really easy to forget about yourself. So super important piece of advice in my mind would be to make time for yourself, and if you have a supportive partner like mine, then they will understand and they will help you make that time. So yes. My second last piece of advice is you do not need to buy or have everything. I completely bypassed this piece of advice, and I'm only taking it on the second time around because I learnt the first time. There were so many things that we bought. We bought a door bouncer, we bought sitting aids, we bought Tommy Tippy bibs, we bought giant bottles, we bought shoes, socks, all of these daft things that either A, we've never used, or B, we absolutely did not need when the baby was newborn, and we still don't really use now, and Nicholas is 18 months old. So I feel like you need to think of the things that you absolutely directly need when the baby is born, and then as the baby develops and like gets older and you learn what they enjoy, what they play with, what they interact with, what they react to, then you can start thinking about, do you want to get them a jumperoo? Do you want to get them, I don't know, a door bouncer, a swing, a trike, all of these different kinds of things. Once you start to learn each other, then you can start buying the extras, but you absolutely do not need them. You also don't need multiples of things. So Spooky and I had somewhere to sleep, somewhere for the baby to sleep in the living room, somewhere for the baby to sleep in the bedroom, somewhere for the baby to sleep in the nursery, somewhere for the baby to sleep if I want to take him through to the bathroom, somewhere for the baby to sleep if I want to take him out in the garden or through to the kitchen. It was ridiculous. It was beyond stupid. So you don't need multiples of things either. Just really think about what you need and what you're going to use, and think about the type of parents you're going to be as well, because if you guys aren't like travel parents, or you guys don't visit people a lot, then you don't need to buy a travel cot right away, and you don't need to buy a little suitcase for them right away, and you don't need to get a travel sterilizer and a travel bottle warmer and all of these different things. I mean, shops and brands specifically make it seem like you need everything, otherwise you're a crappy parent, because they know that as first time parents you buy into it because you want to give your children the best that you can, and the truth is you will give them all of that without any of the stuff that you buy for your baby. So don't worry about it, you don't need everything, be realistic, tone it back. If you're thinking about buying it, think about it a little longer. If in a couple of weeks you still think it's super important that you have it, then fine, buy it. But impulse buys and overbuying, I mean, I can tell you until I'm blue in the face, but as an ex-first time parent, I know you're gonna do it anyway, but I'm gonna throw it out there so I feel like I've attempted to help somehow. And my last piece of advice for first time mums is at every step of the way, just remember that you are doing a great job. Whether you're having a good day, a bad day, whether you have 30 sleeping aids, whether you have the one, whether you have 1,000,001 onesies, or whether you just have 10 that you wash interchangeably, whether you've had a hot cup of coffee, whether you've done your hair, whether you've done your makeup, whether your baby is still in his pajamas or whether he's in clothes, don't worry about it. You're doing brilliantly. Take each day as it comes, and I promise you, everything is a phase. Everything's a phase, everything goes, and one of these days you're gonna miss all of these stressful, tiring moments. So make the most of them while you can, and yeah, that's pretty much everything. That sounded dead cheesy, but I do feel like it's important to know that you are validated. You are a good parent. So that is basically all of the advice that I have for first time mums. I've been saying first time mums throughout this entire video, but first time parents really. First time mums, dads, parents, whatever. But yeah, that is all of the advice that I have to share with you guys today. I hope this helps. I am well aware that if you are a first time parent watching this, you're probably not going to listen, and then when you have your second one, you'll know I was right, but that's okay. I still wanted to make it anyway because there are some pieces of this advice that I did take and it came in handy. But if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to subscribe down below. It is free of charge and it means the world to me to see that little number on my page go up and up. It helps me out a huge amount. Don't forget to also click the bell button so that you are notified every time I upload a new video. And until next time, guys, bye.